Near the end of the Bible, it gives one of the sin lists that are frequent in Scripture, a list of moral crimes against God, usually containing an admonition that those who do such things are living in rebellion to God and won't go to heaven. In Revelation 21:8, God says, "But as for the cowardly, the faithless, the detestable, as for murderers, the sexually immoral, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars, their portion will be in the lake that burns with fire and sulfur, which is the second death." In this chapter, God is talking about heaven, relating what kind of people will be there for eternity and what kind of people won't. As we saw in our last video, the second death is equated with eternity in hell. And we can probably understand why all the actions in that verse are wrong. But one seems a little bit out of place, or perhaps not as bad as the others. Cowards. Why should someone be condemned to hell simply for being fearful? Aren't all people afraid of at least something? And why is that wrong? So let me explain why God is so intolerant of cowardice. In this verse, the cowards are those who feared persecution more than they revered God. The coward would give up when threatened by government or society. The coward would de-emphasize God's role in his life when it was convenient to do so. The coward would not publicly want to be identified with biblical Christianity. The coward would say that he doesn't really believe some of the unpopular commands in Scripture. The coward has no problem identifying as a Christian when he's among friends at church, but he doesn't want that to hold him back as soon as he goes back out into the world. The coward cares more about being culturally relevant than being biblically faithful. The coward loves the praises of men more than the approval of God. But the Bible is pretty clear that you're not going to have both of those things. People who are true to God will not be popular with this world. Woe to you when all people speak well of you, Jesus said. If you're pleasing everyone, you're probably not pleasing God. This word for cowards is used only one other time in Scripture, when Jesus rebuked the disciples for being terrified of a gigantic maelstrom, saying that even when the boat was filling with water, their fear at that moment was showing a lack of faith. If Jesus doesn't even tolerate being fearful of drowning in a huge windstorm while lost at sea, do you think he tolerates us being afraid of anything? This has been Luke Taylor. Whatever you're doing today, look at it with an eternal perspective.